What's going on, and welcome into the Casual Gaming News Conversation. I'm Nick, that's Connor, and this is your weekly gaming news podcast from Co-op 64. Connor, how are we doing today?
Doing good. Severance is on the mind. The season finale happened last night. No spoilers here. It was a damn good episode. I'm excited for more people to watch it, more people to talk to me about it. So if you want to talk to me about it, join the Discord. There's a lot of discourse going on in there, and the anime/TV channel. It was fun talking with you on the phone today about different theories and how the episode impacted us. But yeah, what a season of television. What a finale. They stuck the landing. I'm excited for season 3. So.
Yeah, absolutely. They stuck the landing, and that's going to be a show that is an easy recommend for a long time. I love what Apple TV is doing right now. They're trying to become HBO Max. They're not trying to become Netflix where it's a bunch of content, but the content that's there, they want it to be the best shit ever. And that episode of TV is immediately like one of the best episodes of TV I've seen in a long time.
That seems what their whole brand is, if that makes sense. They want their phone to be like this high end, but like also broad product, you know what I mean? And Apple TV Plus kind of seems like it's doing that with similar to that of HBO. So that makes sense. That checks out. I think PlayStation's kind of following suit with that as well, with something that's a little bit more high end, like a PS5 Pro that's more expensive or whatever, and asking the audience to like be like really engaged with their ecosystem like you would be with an Apple, with your watch and phone and your AirPods and your Mac, where you have all like the one branded thing. For PlayStation, it's like PSVR 2 and PS5 Pro, and then you have the regular PS5 and so on and so forth, and playing games on PC that are PlayStation or whatever, and you have the app that you can trophies in or whatever. They want like a combined ecosystem. I don't know where I was going with that.
It's funny that you go there, because for me, I go everything's an Xbox. Like that is the full ecosystem that they're trying to create over there.
Nothing is an Xbox though at the same time.
That's
you
know
what
point.
I mean? Like whereas PS5 like and like the PSVR and trophies and everything, like I just feel like it's all one cohesive unit, whereas I do not feel like I am playing on Xbox when I am playing on my PC personally. So
I got a fun one for you, Connor. This time last year in March, we were away on a cabin trip. We were chilling, hanging out. How's your March Madness experience going thus far? We are shooting this at 2:45 on Friday.
I'm not really into it in the same way that I have been in previous years. This happens every other year or so, where like I make a bracket and I'm following it, and then like, but I'm also distracted by something else where I just don't really want to pay attention to that. Like I'm really into my Vita right now, where I could be watching games like on the side, but like I got Velocity Ultra to beat, so did that instead.
Yeah.
And Velocity Ultra rules. So
there you go.
Yeah.
What's that about?
I don't really even know how to describe it. It's like a top-down shmup kinda, but it's got like a lot of dashing, and you're like it has like light puzzle elements, but you're just moving really fast and you're using every button on the controller or whatever, or in this case the Vita, that like it just feels really good to be in this like flow state with this game, where you're dashing and shooting bombs left and right, and then shooting enemies as they're coming down at you, and figuring out like, oh, I haven't been over here, that's probably where the switch is, so you go over there, and then you lay a teleporter back at like the start of the area, so you can zip back and then flip another switch or whatever. It's very satisfying. The platinum for it is apparently very difficult, but it's a game that I can see myself kind of just chipping away at over the next few years and eventually getting the platinum on it. I've already tried some of the challenge levels. They are challenging, but they are beatable. So I'm like, maybe this is something I want to do.
I got another question for you. Are you ever going to hop into Kingdom Come Deliverance 2?
Absolutely not.
I'm at the point that I've folded. I will do this eventually. I said that like a month ago, and then it's just been review. But I'm ready to do it, and I've gotten so many questions about it. I was like, is Connor also changing his mind a little bit on this one? But no, you're still.
I'm sticking to my guns. I know I'm not going to like it.
Yeah.
So why would I play something like that? Like it's just not my bag. I think everybody has games like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there has to be a gamer out there that plays everything and is interested and into everything. I guess that probably exists, but I would say the vast majority of people are like, I'm not going to play The Sims or whatever. Like that's not my kind of game. I'm not going to play Civ, where like that's those type of games, not my bag.
Yeah.
I look at Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, how hardcore it is. It's medieval. Don't like medieval settings for the most part when it comes to my media. not interested in that, then like you're doing, what was it, like you're doing laundry and you have to feed your guy and everything. Like nothing about that sounds satisfying or fun to me. I get why people like it. It looks like something that I can like wrap my head around, people really enjoying, but I just know myself well enough to be like, no, I'm good. I feel like we've talked about this every week for the last like month, where we get comments being like, we're closed-minded on Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. It's like, yes, I am closed-minded on Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. That is exactly right.
I'm going to give it a shot, mainly due for coverage sake of the channel. Like, it feels odd that one of the latest and greatest isn't being played by any of us, because it is so well regarded, and I do have a little bit of interest. I got enough interest to hop into it.
It goes both ways. Like, it's even if something's reviewing really well and I have no interest in it, I'm not going to play it. If something's reviewing poorly, like Suicide Squad or Sea of Thieves, no. Skull and Bones, I keep getting those confused. Skull and Bones, it's like, I don't have interest in that, I'm not playing it. Like, that's just how it works.
For me,
that's how we do things.
But for me, good reviews can sway an opinion, where like that can get a little bit more interest. For example, things
it can sway an opinion for something I'm interested in, or like would have cursory interest in. You know what I mean?
And that's it for me with Kingdom Come, where I'm like, I got a tiny bit of interest in the amount of people that are just banging the drum so loudly. I'm like, I can give this one a shot. Another fun one for you, Adamfall. Those reviews just came up and everything. That is the perfect in-between point. We don't do review roundups on the show or anything. That's not our bag by any means. But I was looking at that and being like, if this was just like a phenomenal game, I would have given it a shot. But like, I can't see myself getting into that one and trying that one out.
I have no idea what that game even looks like.
Really?
That name, Adamfall, terrible name.
Oh.
Just like does not spark my imagination at all, spark my interest just off of the name. I'm like, that's weird. So I don't know what it looks like. I don't know what it plays like. Is it first person? I don't know. I know nothing about this game.
For me,
all I remember is hearing people playing it at that Gamescom thing in LA.
Yeah.
Where like Xbox had a big
presence out there,
and people played Adamfall and were like, it's not good. And then now it's reviewing decently. It's like at a 79.
Around there, 77, 79 ish,
so
around
like,
there.
That's fine. So I guess I turned it around in some capacity, but that's what I remember hearing about. So once I heard that people were like, it's not good, I was like, okay, like it's probably not going to end up on my radar. And then now that it's out, it's like, and a few people are interested in it, I was like, okay, I'm glad that it seems like some people are going to be about it, but not for me. I'm busy delivering packages in Death Stranding and playing Vita. Like,
dude, I got
my priorities straight.
I need to get on Death Stranding. I've had it downloaded for a couple days. I've just been gosh darn busy, just like nonstop doing other stuff. So yeah, it's and then also March Madness is taking over my life. The way that we're doing it this year is most years, me and my buddies from high school, we do a pool together. Some friends and family also join in off that pool. I was talking about our father who normally hops in on that. Sometimes you play with us and hop in on that pool. You did a couple years ago in college and such. But this year we are all going all in on our fantasy group. And this is how we're deciding who gets to choose the draft order and everything. So if you come in first place, you get the first choice of where you draft for this league. And the stakes have been raised so much because of it. Connor, a lot of us picked normal teams. There's Dukes out there. I picked Auburn because it's my main one. I'm like, I'm going to choose Auburn for this one. Thankfully, I'm the only one with Auburn. So if Auburn wins, I probably got myself a dub. I'm probably going to win this whole bracket.
I feel like Auburn always chokes
every year. They've been really rough. I mean, last year they straight up choked. It was brutal. Being in the same room as myself and Braden and Shane and like just watching them slowly lose this game and it remain close and then just lose was so brutal. But I chose them this year. They're the number one team in the country, so I don't feel too bad about it. Bruce has the boys fired up. Anyways, so like 12-15, all the brackets reveal on everyone else you're in a pool with. My buddy Terps, you know this guy. He's a character from my high school group. He picked Kansas, who's a 7 seed, who lost yesterday. And throughout today, it has just been a constant reminder of like talking about what game, and then also somebody in our group chat will just be like, hey, just a reminder, Terps chose Kansas to win it all. And it every single time gets a good chuckle out of me, and it's a lot of fun. But I love March Madness. March Madness to me it is Masters, it is the Super Bowl. Those three filling up my February, March, and April months that I really am not a huge fan of. Like I don't like spring that much. Provides so much joy to me, and I just fucking love it. I go all out. Connor rolled in. He saw I had 3 different screens up through HBO Max. I had a 4th one running on my laptop to go and pull in the last game. I was watching Baylor and Mississippi State go after it. I chose Mississippi State in I think all my brackets, and they lost, so that was pretty tough. But enough of that. Enough sports conversation. Unless you want to go and hop in. And who's your champion?
I have 3 different brackets.
Who's your champion in the co-op league we're doing?
Auburn.
Okay, you're the only one with Auburn. Wait, are you?
No.
Oh, okay.
I thought you had it. No,
I don't. I didn't. No, I chose Duke in that one because I didn't want to put all my eggs in one basket. I think you're the only one with Auburn in that league, which is super cool. Thank you for representing my alma mater, showing up, showing out.
Yeah.
I'm all Auburned up right now.
I am the only one who picked Auburn.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm all Auburned up. I'm ready to go and root for my boys throughout this entire weekend. Tomorrow we might. I'm shooting the betting special for Nintendo Switch 2. It's direct with Brady, and I believe Jacob is going to try to free himself up tomorrow. If you want to shoot it sometime tomorrow, just let me know. But I will not be shooting it during the Auburn game. For me, I'm going to be locked in. I'm going to be hanging out here. I planned on going down to Kentucky initially when the tickets got revealed, and then scheduling wise with the amount of content we have this week, it just did not make sense. And boy, oh boy, we got a lot of content. So let's hop into the housekeeping. First and foremost, I want to remind everyone that this show is possible because of our lovely people over on Patreon. If you want to support the channel, consider going over to Patreon and checking out the Co-op 64 page, where you, for $5, can get this show 3 days early. You can get the Casual Gaming Conversation 3 days early, and you can get a bonus episode of the Casual Gaming Conversation every single week. The betting special that I was just talking about, that's going to be the bonus Casual Gaming Conversation for this week. So if you're stoked on Nintendo Switch 2 news, highly recommend going over there. Also, by the time this goes up on free feeds, the Casual Gaming Conversation will also have been posted by then on Patreon, because it'll be Sunday where this will post for free on Monday. And you can get Connor and I's predictions for the Switch 2 Direct. Are you excited for that show? We're finally there, dude. We're finally here.
It was funny. I was going into my car and I was like, okay, we're shooting the Casual Gaming News Conversation. What? We have to double shoot Casual Gaming Conversations on Sunday because we have the subathon the next weekend, so we're shooting in advance. Like, I don't even know what the podcasts are that we're shooting on Sunday, so it's good. One of them is Nintendo Switch 2 predictions. That's a fun. Those are always fun episodes.
And then the other one is it's one of two things. Most likely, it's going to be a normal evergreen piece of content. If not, it might have to end up being a review down the line. But yeah, no, I'm super stoked for that. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Like, I'm so excited to actually start doing this, because for a long time with CGC, it was like, oh man. Like, we talk about Switch 2 all the time. And so we basically took a large hiatus talking about Switch 2, and now we're back. Now we're going to be in the pocket for a full week of content leading into one of the biggest days in the games industry this year, and maybe even this decade, with the Switch 2 getting its launch lineup revealed. It's going to be awesome. April 2nd, I'll also throw that out there. April 2nd, we will be live reacting to it. If you want to come and hang out over on twitch.tv/co_op64 at 9 a.m., I believe we get going. We'll probably do a pre-stream and all that good stuff. Join the Discord to go and stay up to date with all that stuff. I'll hop into the Discord real quick. We have an awesome community, almost 2,500 members over there, kicking it, hanging out, talking about Severance and March Madness, along with what they're playing in the games currently and retro, and it's a bunch of fun over there. So it's linked in the bio, or it's linked in the description. Go check that out. Subathon, like Connor mentioned, we got this subathon coming up, starting up on March 28th at noon Eastern. Myself, Connor, and Brady are going to be going and playing Skyrim in its entirety. Connor, you excited for this one?
So excited. Never been more excited to play a game in my entire life. As everyone knows, we love Skyrim here, so this will be a fun trip down memory lane.
I mean, it's been about 5 years since I've played any Skyrim.
I booted it up 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I think that's what I do all the time. I try to like this game, and I just
sophomore year of college for me. I booted it up and I was like, it's and then Starfield came down and like, these games just might not be for me. But I'm excited to go in and have this journey with y'all. I think that like often people ask us like, why don't you play like bad games on stream? I'm not saying Skyrim's a bad game, don't get me wrong, but like we often say our policy with streaming is like we want to play the games we're super passionate about, and
like
we're
Sonic 06
or it's really fun to go and watch.
This game is brutally bad, dude.
So beyond the subathon, we stream Monday to Thursday every single week. Connor's playing on the Wednesday stream Sonic 06. And
I should be done next week, potentially really early. So we got to decide what we're playing next, because I might start up what I'm playing next on that stream. So
you said the PS3. You want to play something on the PS3? We talked about something on the PS3.
Yeah, we discussed that. I don't know. I kind of just want to go to the game shelf and see what we got. Maybe play something modern and play something on PS5.
You love being very scheduled with almost everything we do at Co-op 64. The one thing that you will not let me make scheduled is you're just like, I just want to play.
I don't plan what I'm playing in
regularly.
general.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
like I just kind of go off of feel. Like it's oftentimes like in relation to what I played last too. So I just played The Wolf Among Us on Vita, which is very story driven, very much like not about its gameplay.
Did you beat that out?
Yep,
Yeah,
platinumed. Platinum number 49. No big
there
deal.
we go.
And it doesn't. You don't need to just beat it either. You have to go back through and get all the Book of Fables entries.
Nice.
So I had to do a little bit extra legwork, which was very annoying because you cannot skip any of the dialogue or cutscenes.
Man, I love doing annoying stuff in video games.
So you just have to sit back through it, which was fine. We got through it. It took a couple hours, but we're there. Platinum number 49. I don't know what the big 5-0 is going to be, but it's probably not going to be anything special. I'm probably just going to
Sonic 06.
Yeah, maybe. But I played that and I'm like, okay, I want to play something really gameplay driven. So I booted up Downwell, which is this game from Devolver, where it's very arcadey. Somebody said it kind of looks like Undertale, like has like that kind of art style or whatever. I don't necessarily agree with that, but you're going down a well. Ooh. And your character has rocket gun boots. And they get like modifiers. So you have like a shotgun that'll shoot, and you're just constantly going down, or like a machine gun, and you have to like shoot enemies as you're going down, and then you get upgrades. It's technically a roguelike, which as we know,
roguelike don't like.
Here's the thing about this roguelike, and Balattra's kind of the same way, is that like the early stages are different every single time. It's not like you're kind of playing the same thing over and over again. And I think that the core gameplay is just so much fun that it kind of erases that feeling of repetition. I don't feel that feeling of repetition when I play something like Tetris. You know what I mean? Where all that is just go again, go again, go again. Downwell or Balatro is something more similar to me, in my mind, as Tetris. Hades or Returnal is like in another basket of roguelike. I don't know if there's a different term for both, if it's roguelike, roguelite. I refuse to learn what the difference between those two things are. People have tried to explain it to me. It seems like a total gray area where they meld over each other quite often. I'm just going to call everything a roguelike. But I booted up Downwell. It's cool. It's fun. And I was like, I kind of want something that I can beat and like finish. Started up Velocity Ultra, a game that I had played on Vita a very long time ago when I first had my Vita. And I didn't really jive with it, but I knew that it was considered one of the best on the console. It takes a little bit to get going. That game, I think that game's like a 9 out of 10. Like I really do love Velocity Ultra quite a bit. But like I said, back to the original point, I decide what I want to play next based off of what I played previously, and Velocity Ultra, like it just came out of the blue. Yeah. Like for me, that's how I Death Stranding. I see a trailer and I'm like, okay, now I'm time to play Death Stranding. Yep. It's like that's just how it works for me. So when it comes to streaming, it's like it's kind of fun to just stumble into Parasite Eve and be like, oh, this is one of my favorite games of all time now. This is awesome, or whatever. So we'll see what's next after Sonic 06. But
speaking of what's next, we have a really fun one. We're starting up Connor's Nuzlocke journey on Monday.
Do we figure that out?
I'm working on it,
okay.
Yes. We are going to try to play Pokemon Red, the OG, the GOAT. No. Recognize them?
Red.
Fire Red, yes. We're going to try to play Pokemon Fire Red and make that happen. The way that our Nuzlocke rules are going to work, because people have asked about like how bad this is going to be, how fast is it going to get to just being in a bad place where Connor's going to have one Pokemon left and it's just going to be a struggle fest. The way we're doing it is the number one rule is permadeath is completely on. So if you have a Pokemon and they faint, they're out of your roster. You got to name every single Pokemon you get, and if it all fails and it's miserable, then we'll go from there. But you are allowed to catch as many Pokemon as you want. So hopefully that allows the fun to continue beyond just potentially a one-night stream.
This is really just a Pokemon playthrough with some more challenge to it, some more drama, you could say. And we want it to go we want to beat
the game,
and we want it to not be boring where I'm just grinding constantly to get my Pokemon up to a certain level. We don't want to end early because of everyone faints and then it's over. So we're trying to make this as good of an experience as possible for you to watch, while understanding that we're not hardcore Pokemon players or anything. Like that's not what we're trying to do here. We're just trying to like do a Pokemon playthrough with some spice.
Have some fun with it. You know, it's going to be a good time too. We are really looking forward to it. That's going to start up on Monday. This is going to be one of the biggest stream events that we do this entire year. This was funded on Co-op 64 Day. By our understanding, this is going to be one that we kind of are going to be going for probably till summer. Like it's going to take a while to beat this game, but it's going to be a lot of fun going through this journey and Connor playing some Pokemon. It's going to be a great time.
Look how long it is.
And then I want to throw this one out there. I'm playing on the Tuesday, Thursday stream Mario Galaxy, but I was talking to Twitch chat last night. I don't know if Connor was watching at this point. How long is it?
30 hours.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was like, it's going to take 10 weeks at a minimum, especially if it's a Nuzlocke. I was thinking 40. Anyways, April 1st. So normally when there's big events like Game Awards, I like to step up the plate, have fun, do something cool with it. 2 years ago was play all of Alan Wake 2, which was a lot easier than playing last year all of Metaphor ReFantasia. For the Switch event, I initially was like, okay, Mario Galaxy, I think I'm going to beat it, potentially the stream after the Switch event that Thursday. And I was like, that's kind of lame. Like, let's get this done. Let's make this happen. So April 1st, we're going to beat Mario Galaxy, and it's going to be a lot of fun. But that's just like not enough pomp and circumstance. So for the past week or so, I've been going back and I've been rewatching every Switch Direct, every main Switch Direct. And at the end of the stream, I want to rank every single Switch Direct main presentation. So that's going to be a lot of fun. I think that the stream is going to go for about 6 hours that night between doing that and then also doing that. You're welcome to come over, have a great time, and talk about Switch presentations with me.
Well, you'll be going till 1 in the morning?
No. Start up around like 5:30 and then go till 11:30ish. Because we also 9 a.m. You're going to have to be over here bright and early the next morning.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah. That's the other part where like somebody was like, you can do 24 hours before. And I was like, no, we have a huge day the next morning.
Yeah.
That whole presentation, the plan as of right now is we go and we react. We'll do a pre-stream, we react, and then we will do the post-game breakdown hopefully immediately after. The only thing that can interrupt that is pre-orders just spewing out accidentally. Do you remember how this went for a Switch? Because obviously we have great memories for how it went for PS5.
No, I was not in the market for pre-ordering a Switch when that first happened. I was in college. I didn't even know that I never pre-ordered a console in my life. I thought it was just like impossible to do with like the speed in which people jump on these consoles. So I didn't even bother. I went and got in line on launch day like 12 hours early, and that's how I got my Switch 1. So I have no idea how it went for the original.
Yeah, we're going to try our best as a team to get 3 Switch 2s and try to make it happen. Hopefully it's punted. The pre-order day is like a week out or something.
And hopefully there's just not supply constraints like there was with like the PS5.
I don't think there will be.
Yeah, it's different times now. So like you got to hope that they're prepped and ready to go. If they want to sell 20 million like early, I think that they just need the units to do it, and that's really it.
The demand's going to be there no matter what. But I've said for a while they could literally release with no games, and they can sell like 15 million units just based off of brand alone. So April 1st, that's also going to be fun. So on streaming, so much fun in the next 2 weeks. Sonic 06 finishing up, Mario Galaxy, the Nuzlocke, the Subathon. Connor, do you want to talk about the way the Subathon is going to work just real briefly?
We're just gonna be rotating out, starting at 12 on that Friday, the 28th, March 28th.
The plan is for all of us to be there at noon at the start.
A lot of Nick during the late nights, me and Brady on the couch together for much of it. So there should be 2 people on camera for a lot of it.
Yeah, so. Unless it's like 4 a.m. Then that's that's this guy. But we are going to start out with 3 hours on the clock. Every sub is 5 minutes. Every gifted sub is 5 minutes at the tier 1 level. And then if you go over to Patreon and you are a new patron, so the way that Patreon works is if you bump your sub up, it takes a while for us to see that on our end. So the way that we're saying it is if you're a new patron and you come in at the $5 tier, that's actually going to be 10 minutes compared to the 5 minutes that you would get over on Twitch. It's going to be double the amount of time if you go over to Patreon and get all that sweet ass content over there.
Yeah, if you sign up for the $5 tier, which is cheaper than it is on Twitch at this point, because Twitch, especially if you do it on mobile,
and then it's 7.
Like 8. No, I think it's 8 on mobile.
Oh shit.
Yeah. And you get all the bonus content that you would be getting over on Patreon. So, and you get bonus time on the subathon. So we really want to point people in that direction, but and also because you get so much more. But
you get more, and also the big thing that we always say is like Patreon gives us the bigger cut compared to Twitch, and so that's the incentive for us on. And you
can check it out for a month and see if you like it, and if you do stick around, and if you don't totally understand, you can cancel it. Yeah.
And then we have new merch. Go up64store.com. Check that one out. Review us over on Apple Podcasts because this show out to more people, say something nice, or just drop the 5-star rating, stuff like that. It takes 2 minutes, and it genuinely helps the show a lot. And then the comment section, there was a comment discussing the confirmation of the Xbox handheld and where the timeline was of last week's news within everything that happened previously of Jez Corden reports and Tom Warren reports. I just want to throw out there that when we're talking about like a report that has been gone through the ringer a little bit and been reported like 5, 6, 7 different times, and there are different like nuances to it, we're going to try our best to focus mainly on the first, like the most recent reporting, because that is the most up-to-date information that we get from people like Tom Warren, people like Jez Corden. But yeah, some people call that out about like previous things. I just want to say that is why we discussed it in the way that we did. But thank you for getting in the comments, discussing that with us. We love hearing that. If you have any complaint or comment that you want to throw out there, or if we get something wrong, please hop in the comments and we will get it correct for the next show. Connor, ready to hop in?
Let's do it.
Story number 1, PlayStation has formed new studio Dark Outlaw Games with Call of Duty Zombies lead Jason Blundell. This is Jordan Miller at VGC. Quote, former Treyarch co-studio head Blundell was once the lead creators of Call of Duty Zombies mode before leaving Activision in 2020 after 13 years. He would then serve as one of the co-founders of Deviation Games. Deviation Games didn't get the chance to release its debut project, an original IP that was set to be exclusive to PlayStation platforms. In an interview with Jeff Kurtzman, Blundell confirmed that the new studio is, quote, staffing up, end quote, and he would have more to share on the studio's first project in the future. Quote, I've had the amazing opportunity to create a new studio within PlayStation Studios for Sony, end quote, Blundell said. Quote, the studio is called Dark Outlaw. We've been working away in the shadows for a while. When we have something to show, or when we have something to talk about, we'll step into the light, end quote. Connor, here we are, Dark Outlaws. What do you think of the name? I want to start there because I feel like we've known for a while that this is happening. Dark Outlaw, what is your opinion on the studio?
It's a fine name.
Yeah.
I don't really have much of a take here. Like, it reminds me of something like Blue Point, where it's like, is it really that cool? No. Does it kind of roll off the tongue? Sure. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. I can see it next to the Sony first party staple.
Housemarque, yeah. Dark Outlaw. Great.
Sure.
Awesome. A lot of fun. Now let's hop into the meat and potatoes of this, though. Blundell finally saying and confirming what we've already known. He's got a studio.
Worst kept secret ever.
Yeah. like we've discussed on the show, being like, yeah, this is happening. It's cool that this is like the official statement of, hey, I like that this time around it doesn't have the fanfare that it did when they went out on stage for SGF and like, we got a studio, we're working on stuff. Blundell this time around is just like, hey, like on a random interview, this is what's happening. What's up, Sony? Thanks for making that happen.
What do you think is?
We're working on games. What do you think they're working on?
Why do you think that he's announcing it this way?
I think because last time it was a failure.
Yeah.
And this is some covering your ass PR right now.
If this gets canceled and they just end up shitting the bed or whatever, it's like, all right, whatever.
Yeah.
We never made like an official announcement that this studio is really even much of anything.
Yep.
Like, it's weird that Sony or PlayStation didn't like put out like a tweet or something being like welcoming Dark Outlaw into the PlayStation Studios family. Like nothing like that. No blog post, no anything. So it's very low stakes, low pomp and circumstance. So I think that's a very interesting wrinkle to this. Excited to see what this team can pull out. I hope that they're working on a first person shooter. I think that PlayStation is in desperate need of one. I mean, not in desperate need. They don't need anything at this point, really. But in their catalog, that's what I want them to have. I would like them to just get creative in that first person space.
Give me the ball. Toss me the ball.
Tossed.
Catch. There is a person that Jason Blundell has worked with before that is so Sony. That is maybe the most Sony it gets. Connor, when you think of people in Sony IP, Name a couple names. Throw out a couple of characters.
Neil Druckmann.
I'm talking characters, like not directors.
Give me a character. You meant directors.
Yeah, give me a character in the Sony IP.
Oh, Sweet Tooth?
No, just the big boys. Talk about the people that are actually huge.
Oh, you mean Sackboy?
Okay, I can't stand this man right now.
Neil Druckmann.
Neil Druckmann is Sackboy. I was hoping for Nathan Drake,
Yeah.
who is voiced by,
Nolan North,
who also voices
Rick Toffin.
Thank you. I think that it would be really cool and a big way to come out and make a splash and say, hey, this is our next game, is they bring in Nolan North to play whatever lead character. I feel like Nolan North's
I thought you
been
were going
put...
to say Uncharted.
No, I
Okay.
don't think that it's going to be Uncharted.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
I think that this is new IP. Blundell's a creative person. He wants to work on new IP. That's what they were doing over at Deviation, at least. I also don't think that, like, it would be Sony exclusive, like, all in on this studio if it was, hey, we just want you to make Uncharted. Like, I think that they could have pulled together Blundell. You wouldn't use Jason Blundell to make an Uncharted
100%,
game.
I agree.
But I do think that with the relationship that he has with Nolan North, playing Rick Toffin for, what, 15 years, it felt like?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that it would make complete sense to go and say, hey, let's get you back in the mocap suit and have you do the voice acting. And immediately, if they go out on a stage, whether it is the Game Awards or it is a Sony State of Play, and it is Nolan North standing next to Jason Blundell, I think that that is like the strongest way that you can get people in, unless you like show off the game and the game is just fucking brilliant.
Right.
But I do think that when it comes to the headlines, the reason that we care about this is Jason Blundell. And as somebody that, like, it was really funny. Somebody asked me, what's the most hours you played in a game recently? I always say Valorant and Fortnite. The answer might be BO3. I played in, like, high school a disgusting amount of BO3 because it was right when I moved and all my friends were still playing in Ohio, and then some people in Massachusetts started playing with me. And so, like, it was just nonstop after school. We're playing zombies on DE for hours on end. It was that, and it was Two Door Cinema Club's album, their first release, and just nonstop repeating that album and playing DE and Shadows of Evil. And so I've always been on the Blundell radar. Now that it is, hey, once again, we got a studio. It's no longer Deviation Games. I do think Dark Outlaw is a cooler name than Deviation Games. But I mean, it's all
They're about the same.
random. Yeah, it's not. It's cool. That's where I'm at with it. It's just a cool name. But I do think that it is important for him to come out and be like, hey, this is happening. This is what's up. Low stakes. We're not going to come out and allow ourselves to sort of fumble the bag like we did previously with this previous studio. But the fact that Sony still has faith in him after Deviation Games does prove to me that, like, he still has an idea. He still has something that's he wants to serve up to Sony, that they're like, this guy's got it. He's a veteran in the industry. He knows how to do great storytelling. It is somebody that really cared about the Easter egg story in BO3, which is basically Jason Blundell's baby, is that Easter egg storyline with trying to send off these characters, these beloved characters, away after when it's all said and done in a way that feels satisfying for the players. He nailed it. And I think that when it comes to storytelling and gameplay, this dude knows what's up. This guy also is just a veteran in the industry in a way that, like, he's going to do a great job. You got anything else on this one?
Not really. I do think it's interesting that he says they're staffing up, which that is kind of part of the dev cycle. You start with a smaller team and then you kind of add and add as you get closer to release. I'm just curious as to when their first game releases. What are we thinking? On PS5 or PS6?
PS6 at this point. I need to go and check one JC Backfire's Instagram, because he's been my inside scoop on all this, because apparently he's been working with Blundell for a while. I wonder if there's a post. No post. It's just him being engaged. But yeah, like the amount of times that I've heard this man be like, I'm still working with Jason Blundell. I was curious to see if he posted something about it. For Deviation Games, he was a community manager. That's what he was known as. And I assume that he's probably doing similar work over there on that team. But I do think that, yeah, it's staffing up. It's probably PS6 at the earliest. I would love, once again, it feels low stakes enough. If it is 2028, I would love them to get a 10-hour first-person campaign out the door as fast as humanly possible.
I wonder if they took any of the assets from the stuff they were working on when they were Deviation. So I don't know if they were starting from scrap. I don't know. We don't know how long they've been working in the shadows, as he says. I think it could be a PS5 easily. Yeah. Personally. And it depends on the scope of the game. Like, do you think this is a live service game?
I was about to say that is probably a good ass question, because the answer is probably yes.
He's got a multiplayer background. Yeah, exactly. But, like, I wouldn't consider Zombies this. I know it is a multiplayer game. It's a co-op experience, but it's not Call of Duty multiplayer. You know what I mean? Which is like this whole game centered around leveling up and the battle pass and skins and stuff. Whereas BO3 Zombies was more about Easter eggs and storyline and like
a map design and and like the feeling of actually being on the sticks and looking around these worlds and being transformed to cool ass places.
I think it's closer to a single player experience personally than a multiplayer experience.
Well, if I have my druthers, we will do the entire BO3 storyline eventually on this channel. I might be doing it alone, but I want that to happen so badly one day, because it is, for me, like when we talk about personal gaming experiences and games that made us fall in love with video games, I definitely don't talk about it enough, but BO3 is like in my top 5 most important games to me ever. And
comes in waves for me every few summers.
Every few summers. It's always summer too. Last year we had it on the schedule, and then we all were just like, oh shit, this person's out of town, this person's doing it, and you had a couple weeks off where Brady and I were playing Super Mario and everything. It's like we just could not make it out.
Well, I was here for Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah, that's why. Man, those cave streams, so special. Somebody brought it up last night of that still being their favorite streams we've ever done, and it really, really was special last year.
Got to run it back with Birth by Sleep at some point.
Story number 2, Amazon's God of War TV series already set for season 2 before season 1 has a release date. This is Eric Van Allen at IGN. Quote, Amazon's God of War TV series has yet to premiere, but it's already lined up for 2 seasons, according to showrunner Ronald D. Moore. In an interview with fellow Battlestar Galactica alum Katie Sackhoff, Moore talked about a bit about what he's been up to. Quote, right now, I'm working on an adaptation of, there's this game called God of War, a big title in the gaming world that Amazon has ordered 2 seasons of, and they've asked me to come in, Moore said. Quote, so I'm literally in the writer's room and working on that. That's my new thing, end quote. Moore went on to say he's not a gamer, though he does enjoy some Defenders, Asteroids, and Centipede. He says he, quote, took a stab at it, end quote, but the controllers threw him off. Quote, press R1. Which one's R1? Oh, I'm dead, end quote, Moore said. Connor, let's start here. Let's start with this whole interview has been like circling social media about like, this guy is not a gamer. He doesn't really know ball when it comes to games, but he's got some great show chops, it seems. Are you excited for the God of War show? And does this put some faith on you that they're already greenlighting, hey, season 2, it's already good to go. It's already going to be built for, let's make this happen.
Every single gaming adaptation, I go in extremely skeptical. We've had a couple of good ones in the recent years, but overall, their batting average is not very good when it comes to these shows. So no, I'm not excited for God of War. I also think that when it comes to the scope and scale of this story, I think it's better suited for a movie where you have the budget to kind of bring this world to life. So I'm a little bit concerned that it's a TV show on Amazon. I'm curious to see how they bring Kratos, this massive hulking character, to life. They need a big boy to be able to play that character. Bring Christopher Judge in to do it.
I think Judge would be great.
Yeah, it'd be cool. But the lack of being a gamer and lack of experience with the source material, I feel like for the ones that have succeeded, you have The Last of Us, where Neil is intimately involved and Craig clearly has an affinity for the games. So that was a huge success. Fallout just seems like all throughout it is a love letter to the games and really pulls from specific aspects of the Fallout universe and then puts a little bit of a spin on it and tells its own story. But as you see at the end of season 1, like they're very clearly leading towards stuff that is in the games or whatever. So I think that that's an example of something that clearly has worked and has been received well. Then you have something like Halo, where it's like they clearly are just kind of saying fuck you to the source material and doing their own thing and just using this universe and twisting it in a way that they hope can like bring in a new audience. And that was on Paramount Plus. I almost thought that was Amazon. And nobody liked it. It was terrible. So like, if we're going to do that direction with this, I do not have any faith in it. I'm not looking forward to it. I probably will not watch it. I don't really have a lot of interest.
I'm going to watch it for content purposes,
for
sure.
I might, but
for me, it's God of War. I watched Fallout, and I'm not a Fallout person, and I am a God of War person.
I watched Fallout because I heard it was awesome.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And if God of War comes out and it's awesome, then sure, I'll give it a go.
By the way, I started up Halo Episode 1 when it like was first going, and immediately I was like, this just isn't what I want right now, and then stopped it. But yeah, no, I'm excited for this. 2 seasons gives me some faith that there's a script. That there's a script out there that is fucking awesome, and hopefully that got greenlit and they're going from there. But I completely agree. This is one of those examples of like, you don't need to say everything. Like he could have just left it at like, I'm a fan of older video games and like just gone from there. But like to go in, have a moment where you're basically saying like, yeah, I'm not really a gamer.
I'm
it's
glad
not something I enjoy. Really?
Because then at least now I know that it's probably going to be bad. And I don't have to I can set my expectations accordingly.
I mean, I just set my expectations low for a lot of this stuff. But God of War, like you said, budget is a huge thing. Thankfully, Amazon's budget when it comes to things like Lord of the Rings and even Fallout have been pretty high budget. Like they got the money over there. So I hope that they throw a shit ton of money at this, because when we're talking about Norse mythology coming to life, they need to make this look fucking awesome, especially when you have some of these settings that are so rich with I'm just thinking of like the main setting in God of War and the amount of snow and how that has to like look and portray. There is times that type of setting looks very TV, and then there's times that looks like you're actually in a movie. Shout out to The Last of Us's episode in wintertime that I'm like, this looks like movie-esque type of production and looks great. They need to hit that level of production quality, and obviously HBO, that's high budget. This also needs to have a crazy fucking high budget to it. But yeah, I think that the biggest questions for me isn't necessarily who is show running it and if they're a gamer, but the biggest question is who's part of it when it comes to Sony IP. Is Cory Barlog going to be over the shoulder? Is he going to be at the red carpet premiere? Is he going to be in the booth making sure and helping with casting decisions and stuff like that?
I feel like we would know that at this point.
I know, but who from Sony, if it's not him, who is that person? Is it just Sony higher ups? And for me, I'm like, those Sony higher ups, whoever's in the building needs to love these characters in these games as much as Neil Druckmann loves The Last of Us in that universe.
I think it works for The Last of Us because he's so intimately involved.
Yeah.
Like he's writing the show, and like he's the second he's second in charge behind Craig Mazin. So like I think that's a big reason as to why that show works, and I can't foresee not having that formula for something like God of War and having it work. So we'll see. I'm rooting for it. I hope it's great. I hope all of these are great. Yep. But I just seriously doubt it.
All right. Story number 3, Xenoblade Chronicles X appears to have a hidden 60 FPS mode, sparking Nintendo Switch 2 speculation. This is Eric Van Allen at IGN. Quote, Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition is out today for Nintendo Switch consoles, and some players are already digging into the data to learn more about it. One discovery seems to reveal a hidden mode enabling 60 frames per second, which is certainly cause for curiosity and speculation about what it could mean for the Switch 2. Over on Twitter, via WCCF Tech, modder Massa Grotto R dug into the executable of Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition and found out what they called a, quote, hidden 60 FPS mode, end quote. The modder said it seemed to be implemented, quote, only partially, since enabling it causes, quote, some weird issues. While it is not implemented in the proper game, the existence of this setting does spark some interesting question. If it is not available, then why is it in there? Well, some stray leftover code could be one answer. Some speculation about what this could mean for the Switch 2 and the existing Switch games is also easy to understand. End quote. Connor, this one is one of those stories that like I love right before a console launch, because it's like, oh shit, it's happening. Like, we're here. I want to start here because this is a question I don't think that we're going to be discussing too much on our betting special and on the predictions episode that we're doing. How many games are we going to see during this presentation that are the upscaled versions? And is Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition going to be one of those games that they say, hey, it is 60. It's good to go. Day one, hop in, have fun. It's going to be upscaled in that way.
Do you think there's going to be a charge for it, though? There's definitely going to be.
That's a separate question, Connor. First, let's start here. How many games are we going to see? How many games?
10 or so?
Really? You think
they might show a smattering of being like, hey, like, or just kind of throw up an image of like a grid view of a bunch of box arts and be like, these games will be enhanced on the Nintendo Switch 2.
I think that you remember the PlayStation September presentation 2020 was the last one before the launch, and then they revealed the Game Pass catalog, not Game Pass, the PlayStation Plus catalog that was bang, bang, bang. You can get all these games. They should do one of those. That's what I think it should be. And we should get 6 to 7 games that are, hey, it's Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, Xenoblade. I would love a Pokemon and Scarlet up-resed, good to go, actually make that game function the way that it needs to version. I think that we could see about 7 or 8 of those. Now, if we want to talk about upgrade pricing, yes, I do think that there'll be a $10 charge across the board to get it upgraded.
I think that's smart. If they give this away for free and let these games just get upscaled naturally on Switch 2, I think that would be a great move of goodwill from them.
Very consumer friendly.
Yeah, very consumer friendly. But it's Nintendo.
WND could definitely cause a $70 charge to go and buy it again. I could easily see that also. Hey, you want the Switch 2 version of Breath of the Wild at $70?
I could see that.
Yeah, which would absolutely suck. I do think that this is an interesting question, though. Also, when we are talking about Switch 2 and 60 frames and these games running very well, something like Xenoblade is obviously a much larger game than some of these smaller.
Have you seen footage of this game?
This game looks fucking ridiculous.
I follow Gene Park on Twitter, and he keeps posting videos of this game. I'm like, this looks like a game that came out yesterday, and it looks better than half of the games that came out yesterday. Like this looks insane.
When I was right before I hopped in to watch Severance, I was finishing up watching some of the basketball games last night, and I went and saw him tweet something, and I didn't realize it was about Severance. And then after the fact, I realized it was about Severance, and I was like, oh, I didn't know Gene was a fan of it. But yeah, the game looks insane. The game looks absolutely insane, and so I do think that a 60 frames mode, and my question to you is this going to be a standard set by Nintendo that we're going to start to actually potentially not see 60 frames across the board? We don't see that on fucking PlayStation.
No.
So, but my question is, when you get the box, there's going to be things on it that are like, for the PlayStation box, it says 8 fucking K on it and random shit in 60 or 120, all these things that are just a bunch of marketing crap. Like it's there, it can do it, but it probably won't. These games won't, the software won't be able to perform that way. Do you think that what is on the box? What do they try to go and say, hey, we can get these games to? Do you think that this is real? 60 frames for Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition. Do we get that on the Switch 2?
I think that the Switch 2 will have the capability of doing 4K 60 if it is to be believed that it is as powerful as something like a PS4 or a PS4 Pro, which was capable of doing that. Do I think it's going to be a lot of games? No. Will it be in docked mode? The screen's not going to be 4K.
Yeah.
1080p for the screen is what
I assume
believed.
1080.
Yeah.
It's going to be 1080. It's not OLED. It's going to be just so in 3 years they can tell us another OLED.
So I think it's capable of doing that. I don't think we'll see a lot of it.
I think that it's going to be capable, but I'm curious to see what the marketing is for that event, because I don't think that we're going to super dive in on those predictions in the next week or so. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to bring the story in here of how do they also do that? What's the marketing on stage of? Is it just the games, or is there going to be somebody? Because it's also not a stage presentation, by my knowledge. It is just a Switch presentation, a direct presentation, which we know what those are very well. Also, shout out for it being a direct presentation. Thank God. That's what it should be.
They're not saying shit about the specs. They've never been one to talk about that stuff in like a direct.
Yeah.
Where like that'll be a post on I don't know if they have like a blog or something on their website. Like day of, or like it'll be listed in the spec sheet on like the page where you buy it or something. But like this isn't why people buy Nintendo consoles. They buy them for the games.
Yeah.
So like they wouldn't say anything about that. I don't think. I think the extent of them talking about performance is going to be that these games are going to run better or are enhanced or something on. I could see them literally being like, these games are more fun on Switch 2 or whatever. It's like something silly like that.
Remind me to add it to our predictions episode. Are we doing lengthy long shot for Sunday.
Yeah.
Probably. I thought so there. I need to get some rapid fire at the end of it. That's not going to be part of the betting special because my questions like that I want to go and have on that podcast too to go a little bit deeper. So also get excited about that predictions episode. I think that this is going to be one of the best podcast episodes that we do all year. Stoked about that. Unless there's a Sony showcase, then that's also going to be fucking awesome. And then things like Goaties. I just love showcases.
Me too.
That's why I wanted to rank all these Switch 1 directs, dude. I'm so jazzed up currently about Switch. Like, it's here. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be a good time. Story number 4, Persona 4 Remake announcement looking likely after domain discovered. This is Andrew Hyten at Insider Gaming. Quote, history looks like it's repeating itself as a recent registered domain name suggests Persona 4 Reload is on the way, and this is more than likely a remake from the ground up of the 2008 Persona 4. Persona remakes have been creeping out over the recent years, but it makes complete sense if you're Atlas. The series has sold millions of copies and its popularity continues to rise. This is why Persona 3 received a remake in 2024 with Persona 3 Reload. Now, a year later, a domain name suggests Persona 4 Reload is on its way, and it could be announced soon. YouTuber and social media personality Scrambled Faz found the domain p4re.jp registered on March 20th. They discovered the listings featured the domain name's creation date and name. It doesn't directly spell out Persona 4 Reload, but a brief history lesson tells us this is probably the case. As told by Faz, p3re.jp was registered in 2023, and we got the official Persona 3 Reload announcement a few weeks later. This looks to be a carbon copy of these events, only this time we're swapping the 3 for a 4, end quote.
Feels so soon. It's like we just got Persona 3 Reload. How are they pumping these games out?
I'm going to take us back to about 4 or 5 weeks ago when it was the Xbox Direct, and I said, I think that we're going to get a Persona 4 remake. And everyone was just like, well, we're getting Persona 6 before Persona 4. And I want to tell you, I'm fucking right. I saw this coming from a mile away. They know what they have on the table right now. They just want to get all these games in a great format, ready to go on current gen. So when we do Persona 6, I think probably it's 4 years at this point. Like, it's going to be there, and we will have great versions of Persona 3 through 5.
I think it's this year.
For Persona 4?
Yeah.
No, I think it's really early next year. I think that we get it. I think we get it June showcase for Xbox.
I'm thinking about booting up on Vita lately.
Persona 4?
And maybe if it comes out and is on like modern consoles, I might still play it.
You're going to play it on Vita for sure. But I do think that it's June showcase for Xbox.
Yeah, I can see that.
They love announcing their games at these Xbox showcases at this point for Atlas.
There's no shot it's called Reload, right?
What could the R stand for?
I don't know.
Reimagined?
No, it would be some fun term or whatever. It's called Reload for P3 because of the guns.
Yeah,
like that's the whole part. That's the whole thing with the game or whatever. Yeah. I think that's why it's called that. So I imagine it needs to have something to do with Persona 4.
Persona 4 Rebirth, run it! And for me, guess what? I'm going to play that. Second favorite game ever, just because it's got Rebirth in the title.
Yeah.
But yeah, where do you think that we see this, and do you think it's this year? And do you think that this is actually a news story? Do you think that this is going to actually happen? Because I'm all in that this is happening.
The only issue I have with it is that it feels way too soon. Like, how long does it take to make something like this?
Let's dial it back. I don't think that it's way too soon if it's June announcement, February release. That's a 2-year for a remake cycle. I don't think that's insane.
Exactly. I mean, I don't know. I think that's fast. These are ground up remakes.
I know, and they're big.
They look
they're
totally
big-ass
different.
games.
Yeah,
they're big ass games too. They're long games, but I also do think that like they're not like all in. I feel like the art style allows it to be a little bit easier to do, right? Like that's where my mind goes, but I could be wrong on that.
The biggest thing when it comes to the turnaround for this, in my opinion, has to be the procedural generation of these levels. The fact that they don't have to redo a tailored dungeon like you would for Persona 5, I think that helps a ton. I mean, 2017 to 2020 for Persona 3 Persona 5 to Persona 5 Royal, but I guess you're making new content for that, so that doesn't work. So I guess 2
Yeah.
years would make sense. Yeah.
2 years doesn't sound insane to me, and I do think that
That's crazy fast.
I think that they're a lot like when I talk about Zelda and I talk about The Last of Us for PlayStation. You want something Persona every couple of years that is major Persona, not just a Persona Arena or something like that. And this would have the people feasting once again, just in the same way that 3 Reload had people very satisfied. I think that this would also allow that team, whoever is working on Persona 6. I think that Persona 6 does get revealed this year, by the way. I think it's Game Awards, but I think it does get revealed this year.
I also do want to remind people that the time between, if you're waiting for Persona 6 and you're like, why are they doing this instead of Persona 6? Like, think about how long it took for Persona 5 to come out after 4.
Yeah.
4, 2008 on the PS2, and then 5, 2017.
17.
It's like, guys, like, it's going to be a minute probably.
Yeah.
And the fact that we're getting stuff to help supplement the wait, I think that's more than enough, personally.
And, I mean, even this article says it, like, the popularity for Persona is just only on the rise. Like, it just keeps on going up and keeps on becoming this, having a larger fanfare every single time these announcements happen. I remember when they announced in the 2021 Xbox showcase where it was, hey, all 3 of these games are coming to Game Pass for a certain amount of time and everything, with just Persona 3, 4, and 5. It wasn't Reload at the time, but it was just, hey, these games are coming over here, you can play them. It was a fucking huge announcement. Like, this was major for Persona fans because Persona fans love this shit, and any announcement would be pretty awesome.
For the longest time, you can only play Persona 4 Golden on Vita.
Yeah.
And then they finally came to PC. It's like, wow.
And I do think that having another moment where it is, hey, Persona fans, come on in. It's going to be a great time. Let's party.
Right.
I think that that's a great move. Last news story. Phil Spencer says more movies and TV shows based on Xbox games are on the way. This is Jason Finelli at VGC. Quote, Spencer commented on Hollywood's recent interest in video games properties with movies like the Super Mario Bros. Movie and the Sonic the Hedgehog trilogy among the most successful examples. Spencer says Xbox is still, quote, learning and growing, end quote, through the process of adapting its games to film and TV, and it's embracing the Hollywood spirit of trial and error. Quote, we learned a lot from doing Halo. We learned a lot from doing Fallout. So all of these build on themselves, end quote, Spencer said in the interview. Quote, obviously, we'll have a couple that miss. But what I'd like to say is what I'd like to say to the Xbox community that likes this work is you're going to see more because we're gaining confidence and we're learning through this, end quote. Connor, your favorite conversation, more TV adaptation news. Here's what I like about this. When I think about Xbox's properties with TV, I think about Halo, and I think about that being a failure. I don't really think about Fallout, but the truth is Fallout is Xbox, and it is a massive success for them. So I understand him being like, hey, I want to do more. Where are you at with this one?
I totally understand why PlayStation and Xbox would be interested in doing this. All it does is bolster your IP and gets more people interested in buying your games. So I don't blame them. I'm curious what IP they pull from next. What are we thinking? Gears? Maybe some Doom action?
Yeah, remember there was the conversation about Doom trying to be in secret level and everything, and them being a little bit protective over that, but maybe that they're just waiting to do something on their own.
Go back to the drawing board with Halo and do a movie or something, I think would be really cool, personally. I'd adapt the first Halo story, Combat Evolved, and do something a little bit more linear, a little bit more focused.
Another big one is Skyrim. Obviously, the fantasy IP. I think Fable might work even a little bit better if you were...
Is that not already announced?
What, a Skyrim movie? There might be something there.
Elder Scrolls.
Yeah, there might be something there. Get in the comments on that one. Let us know. But yeah, I think that there absolutely could be something there that, like, the fantasy IP, I think is so funny because even things like Split Fiction remind us how, like, powerful people think the fantasy IP is. We're not necessarily fantasy people, but, like, there are a lot of people that are like, I love everything Lord of the Rings and Fable and Skyrim, and those are, like, some of my favorite worlds ever to go and be in. I do think that they don't have there isn't a video game fantasy TV show yet by my memory, and I think that there's a spot where they have 2 awesome IP to potentially do something cool with that. And then like you said, they fumbled Halo, but franchises fumble all the time, and then they come back with something cool and awesome and get right back on their feet. So I could see them doing that
if
too.
you're talking about learning the lesson, It's like, learn a lesson from that, stick with the source material and make something that's true to what makes Halo Halo and what people like, and try again.
I will say a lot of people love Halo and the books and the lore of this entire world, but when I think about the mass consumer of Halo, I think that most people just like how Halo plays and the multiplayer aspect of it, and I don't think that necessarily there's a slam dunk TV show within the Halo universe.
I had friends who really liked the lore.
Oh, I know,
and really
like,
liked the story
I know,
and everything.
But I'm talking about the massive fan base of something like The Last of Us is people fucking love The Last of Us. They love the story. They don't necessarily love the gameplay. When people yeah, I know you do, and I do too. When people talk about even the Mario movie, they love the characters and they love just being in the Mushroom Kingdom and hanging out. And then Sonic sickos are a different beast. Like I don't even want to talk about that. But those movies are pretty fun. They're pretty good.
Yeah. They should make a movie off of that Indiana Jones game.
Yeah, that'd be fun. That'd be a good idea. Let's
get Troy Baker.
Let's get the Baconator in there, dude. I want to meet Troy Baker one day and just let him know for the past 5 years of my life, I've only referred to him as the Baconator. Do you think he'd appreciate that?
Yeah, about as much as you remember that Tim Rogers story from his Last of Us review, where he goes up to Troy Baker at an IGN party after The Last of Us has come out, and he goes, "Your performance was so good that I literally went out and bought a backpack after it." And then Troy Baker says, "Okay, man." Like, that's the entire interaction. I love that so much.
You want to know what I appreciate, Connor? Our dearly beloved members over on Patreon. Shout out to the people that make this show happen. People like Logan,
Hope,
Tyler D,
Scooterman,
Dinkelberg Rules,
Sensuru,
Ryan V,
Gonash,
Neutral Sphere,
Charlie W,
Stooby Dooby,
Calvin M,
Nuke This Kingdom,
Crispy.
Real quick, Stooby Dooby. I just need to go back. Stooby Dooby Doo, Stooby Dooby Doo.
I get jealous every single time you get his name.
It's a great name.
Fun.
You just said Crispy?
I think I said DJ Zach B.
Okay, JC,
Uli,
Jacob D,
Big Mac,
Metal Nate,
The Patty Cake,
Bear Pog,
Yogi,
Damn,
Holden M,
Shane O'Mac,
Colin C,
Brock,
Voodoo,
Dr. Pookie Bear,
Alex the Golden,
Andrew H,
Master Diz,
Jesse F,
Drifter X1, Skirt,
Presto,
Maverick,
Goops,
J-Matt B3,
Ali Ben Ali,
Michael B,
Vorpal Matt,
and Brian.
Thank you so much for supporting the show. We'll see you in the next one. Peace out.